American candy manufacturer, he's Kimmy Candy Company President and CEO Joe Dutra joins me now. Joe, the White House hosted a Made in America product showcase this afternoon on the South Lawn, featuring products from all 50 states. What do you think of this push this week about Made in America?
Well, you know, today is supposed to be Made in America Day. He signed a decree and made it, Made in America Week and Made in America Day. And it was great. You know, we were with one representative from each one of the states that were producing products that were made in America and creating American jobs. And I think his goal is to try to get other companies to realize how important it is to have made in America manufacturing and companies, because he talked about how it's a trickle-down effect. You know, every dollar that we pay in wages gets put back into the local economies, and so it helps, grocery stores and different companies that are producing goods for our workers, and it's just good for the economy and the community.
You know, you were there, Joe, I think, at this event, and the president says it's time to honor the work of skilled tradespeople in America. Do you agree?
I agree. You know, I think that, we used to have an offshore facility in Korea that we brought onshore to Reno, Nevada in 2008. And, it was really scary to bring jobs back to the U.S. because it was more expensive, there was more regulation. But we've grown. We've gone from 7 employees to 40. And what I realized is, President Trump is trying to make it easier for us to bring companies back onshore. It's very simple to say, we don't care about what happens in trade, but, it affects small businesses like mine.
Jamie Dimon, the CEO of JPMorgan Chase, really drilled and went after Washington, D.C. and the roadblocks they put in place of businesses across the country. How was business, the environment under the Obama administration compared to now?
Well, I think we see some easing of regulations, and I'm not sure there's a lot that's been done since the beginning of the year, because what's happened is we find it's a little easier to do business in Nevada. They're trying to make the mentality of the bureaucracy is starting to ease up a little bit. When we first brought the factory over in 2008, we got in front of a lot of people, and they had a lot of regulations, and we fought, and we didn't win some and we won some. Now it seems like these groups of bureaucracy are a little easier to work with. We just expanded our facility into a much larger one, and the bureaucracy was a lot nicer here. We just moved in January, and getting all the permits were actually a lot easier.
What more can the president do to help the nation's small business owners?
I think he's got to somehow reduce taxes on corporations like ours so that we have a little extra money to reinvest into the business. The last number of years have been difficult for many small corporations, and we pay a lot of taxes. I mean, we pay taxes for all our employees. We pay, business taxes and all sorts of things that take away from our bottom line. We're a family-run corporation, and, my employees are like my family, but I can only do so much without having higher, basically I have to make more money. And the government before was just seems that we were paying more money for health insurance, we were paying more money for regulations, and now it seems to be a little, I have hope. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
I think the thing we have now is we have more hope.
Kimmy Candy Company, Joe Dutra, president there, and basically leading the way. Joe, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Life is sweet. Just remember that.
That's a good point. Thank you for that.